Hey everybody, Joy Garafola, Fine Art, broadcasting live from Jupiter. How is everyone's Monday going? Wanted to talk a little bit this morning about intention. And we can go through life thinking that we're doing the right things to get what we want. But what is our intention? How do we feel when we're doing it? What's our validity? And what I mean by that, if you're just going through the motion and you're saying, I am wealthy, I am important, I am more than enough, are you feeling more than enough? Are you feeling wealthy and prosperous? And not just money, but in every single area of your life. Are you feeling that? Because if you just go around saying those things, maybe talking about them as if they haven't happened yet, it's never going to happen. You have to live your life that way. You have to live your life with conviction. And if you're doing things for the wrong reasons and just doing them to say what you think the universe wants to hear to get what you want, but you don't really believe it, and you don't really feel it, well then it's never going to happen. And it's also about being nice to people. Being nice. Everybody's going through their own stuff. Everyone has their own problems. There's nobody on earth here that has no problem. We all do. We all have different levels of what we can handle. We all have different levels of what we've been given. But nobody's life is perfect. Nobody's life has no stuff. So we have to be kind. And when we think of that, right, and we remember everybody has their own story, we have to give them a break. Not a pass, not a total pass. If somebody's being a complete toxic idiot, then they have to go from your life. But you don't need to fight with them and argue with them. You just move on. And if they didn't get the memo and they have no idea, well, you know what? They need to figure out their own stuff. But we need to also be grateful for what we have, whatever it is. Maybe it's your dog, your daughter, your son, your life, your job, your breath. Maybe you think you have nothing at all to be grateful for. But you do. You're here, and you're listening to this video. And that enough in and of itself, breathing, getting out of bed, being alive, that's being grateful. And as I mentioned before, there are miracles everywhere, all around us, all the time. But if we have our head in the sand and we're not paying attention to what's around us and we're just walking and going through life with blinders on, we may go get coffee at the same place every day and have no idea who's behind the counter, ever. Because we're too absorbed in our own life to even realize that that person's there every day and sees us every day, probably in another world, because we're so self-absorbed and consumed with what we think is important. What's important is connecting with your soul and your heart and living and moving and breathing and doing everything from there. Everything. Before you do something, before you go get coffee, before you talk to somebody at the dry cleaners or whatever it is you do, before you even open your mouth, look at that person. Really acknowledge that person. Maybe you should ask them if they're having a good day. The more that we bring out into the universe to help others, to make others' lives better, the more prosperous we become in many different ways. Just a thought this morning, guys. It's a beautiful morning. It rained at sunrise, so I couldn't really get any good images, but I got this one, and I think this is beautiful. And thank you for everything, support, kind words, purchases. I am fine-tuning my YouTube channel here, so hopefully this week I will set my release date. And everybody make it a wonderful, beautiful, amazing day. Namaste.